Once again, on October 19th, the city of Elgin, Illinois experienced a zombie outbreak, as they always seem to experience this time of year. And once again, the city was prepared, as they have been in the past, and they cordoned off Chicago Street, section of the city, and made it a safe zone for anybody that wished to remain safe. Entertainment was provided, of course, by various acts, performers, musicians, and of course Sven Gulli was there as always to help oversee the situation. And once again, I was recruited to perform quarantining services in the Nightmare Alley in my capacity as the Mad Doctor, or as Judy, the organizer of the event, referred to me, Dr. Danger. We could never figure out, people are always asking me, who is your character? What's his name? And I said, he's just a Mad Doctor. He just works in the morgue in Nightmare Alley and helps quarantine the infected. Anybody that's infected that gets into the safe zone. But I never really decided on a name for him. He was just the Mad Doctor, until one time Judy referred to me as Dr. Danger. And I'm like, oh, is that my character's name? Yeah, let's go with that. I still refer to him as the Mad Doctor, but he is, I guess that's his unofficial name, Dr. Danger. Thanks, Judy. So anyway, on Saturday, October 19th, I made my way up to Elgin. I always try to get there early, just for my own sake, because I don't want to end up getting stuck. You never know what's going to happen when you go places, so you just give yourself plenty of extra time, which is what I always do. And then, if you show up early, you show up early, and it gives you a little extra time to wander around, take care of whatever business you have to take care of. And Elgin's a really nice city. From what I've seen of it, it seems like it's a really nice place. I like it. Of course, my favorite spot up there, apart from the safe zone, is it's actually located in the safe zone. It's the Blue Box Cafe, the Doctor Who themed coffee shop. And I never noticed this before. It's funny, but I just now realized their initials are BBC, and I never caught that before. But this time I did, and I thought that was an interesting touch. Anyway, I was there. I stop off there to get a bite to eat before I go in and get transformed into Dr. Danger. This time I had an Impossible Girl latte. All the drinks are named after Doctor Who characters. And I had a Master wrap, named after the Master, of course. They're always showing Doctor Who episodes on the TV screens, and they were showing Matt Smith's first episode. Title of it escapes me, but it was his first episode where he met Amy, and they had their little first adventure together. Then, let's see, after that, I went back and reported to makeup. They usually have it ever since I've been there, the makeup, they always do the makeup in the bottom floor of the Habitat for Humanity building. This time it was different. I actually had to go to first I went upstairs to the pizza place that's just a few doors down from Habitat for Humanity. And I went in there, and I got upstairs, and I told them I was with Nightmare Alley and I was the Mad Doctor, and then they sent me back to Habitat for Humanity down in the bottom floor. That's where they call it the Special Effects Department. So I had to go back to Habitat for Humanity to get made up. The guy that did my makeup, he did a really, really excellent job, as you can see. I don't recall what the name of his... He works at another haunted house in the area that I've never been to. He knows his stuff. Everybody there, everybody that is involved in the whole thing, I can't say enough good things about them. They're all just very talented and professional. I'm really happy that they chose me to be a part of. They choose me each year. This is my 4th year that they choose me to be a part of this. I love it. It's just amazing and humbling, and it's always an experience. Every time I come up there, every time I go up there, it's an experience from start to finish. He sat me down, and I brought my my prop, my drill with me, and I asked him if he could put a drill hole right in the middle of my forehead, because that's part of my routine. I have my drill there, and I ask some poor unsuspecting fool, usually a woman, but I've had guys drill me as well. Tell them, say I'm fighting a migraine, and I don't have any Advil with me. Would you mind drilling right here? And they know. Some of them actually do press it against the hole, but some of them, they just hold it like a few inches away from my forehead, and they squeeze the trigger, and I'll always go like, oh, that's good. Oh, yes, that's so much. And they're like, is that helping you? And I'm like, yes, thank you so much. A lot of times the women are more sympathetic to me than the men, because I guess, everybody gets migraines, but, I think the women are more sympathetic towards me, especially some of the older women, because when I tell them I'm fighting a migraine, they just get that kind of understanding look on their face, and they just nod their heads, and they're more than happy to help me most of the time. I don't quite know. Sometimes I think they don't quite know what to make of my sounds of relief, but they play along with it. Most of them do anyway. Some of them, there's like, every once in a while you get some group in there, and it's just like nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to play the part. So I have developed an alternate bit of routine. I've mentioned before about my sanity meter badge from the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, and people post reviews of the badges on their website, CthulhuLives.org, and they've gotten several complaints because the dials on the sanity meter, they're not as steady. So as when they wear them, the dials don't stay steady, and so the numbers, they can kind of go up and down, which I have actually worked into my routine, because I always start the evening. I always start it at 99, which is the highest number. And throughout the course of the evening, I'll ask someone, I'll say, could you look at my badge, my sanity meter, and tell me what number it's on? And they'll look at it, or at least they'll try to. Some of them, most part, people were telling me it was 69. And I was like, oh, well, that means I'm still good. And some of them, I think some of them couldn't quite read the number, because they were saying it was at just 9. They couldn't read the 6, I guess. And I'm like, oh, dang, I'm not doing so well. And then the next person will come in and say, oh, it's at 69. Oh, good. This last guy said I was at 9. I'm making progress. At the end of the night, it was at 80. So I think I did pretty well on the sanity scale, all things considered. But you can see me getting made up there with my little latex drill hole, which when I first started out, some people actually thought it was a bullet hole, and I had to show them the drill, and I explained it to them. That was before I got inside the morgue, and when I was out walking around, and some early folks were taking a look around, and I got a few interesting looks, and one lady was taking pictures for whatever she was taking pictures for, and she's like, oh, did you get shot or something? And I'm like, no, I've been fighting a migraine, and I don't have any Advil. So, and she's like, oh, there was a couple of people that took my picture and took some footage of me. One of which, a few seconds of me, actually appeared in this one video montage. I'll post the link to it. It's from a group called Flyby. I think they're called Flyby Chicago. They basically do like aerial drone videos which we actually saw. We actually saw them. We saw the drone as it was hovering over the street. We were all looking up and pointing at it, and then we found out. I found out later that they were taking footage, overhead footage of the whole street, and everybody's milling about and whatnot, and they added in clips of the various performers, the zombie cheerleaders dancing, and the zombie marching band, and the musicians, these two guys that played violin, and this other guy who was playing the guitar, and this young lady was dancing with him. And I actually got a few seconds of footage in there, standing in the morgue, holding up my drill. But he asked me, the guy that did my makeup asked me, have you ever been airbrushed? And I couldn't recall, but I'm pretty sure I had, and asked me if I was allergic to latex, and I said not that I know of, and so he put the latex bullet hole on me and sprayed my face white, and he painted the drill hole with fake blood and ran it down my face and along the sides of my nose down towards my mouth, and they always do a really good job. They always do. Like I said, I just cannot say, I can't say enough good things about them. They're really talented. Here is our haunted house, Nightmare Alley. It's like a haunted doctor's office and morgue, crematorium kind of thing, and you can see the Blue Box Cafe off to the right there. And I went in there I went back in before it was time to start, and I had another drink, Roman Centurion. It was a cinnamon drink. It's named after Rory's character, the Roman Centurion, and it's a sandwich. It was named after the Daleks, the Dalek special or whatever it was called. And I let the folks behind the counter know, if anybody needs any medical attention, I'll be right next door. They're like, okay, thanks. They're good people. They take good care of you. And I went in, just to get a feel of the place, and look around. And I went inside, and there was like the main doctor's office where the receptionist was there, and she guided in the groups. And they actually had two hallways you could take. One was just a regular hallway with the fake arms and legs sticking out, and the walls were all covered in blood. And the other one was one of those inflatable hallways. Like where they have the big inflatable things that you have to squeeze your way through. You had two options. You could go down the fake limb hallway or squeeze your way through the inflatable hallway. And I had to tell people, sometimes they'd come down the fake limb hallway and then try to go back through the inflatable hallway. And I'm like, no. You can't go backwards. You got to go forwards to go back, to quote Willy Wonka. Some people, they ticked me off. Some people, they didn't squeeze their way through, but they actually crawled under. They cheated. They just crawled right through it. I'm like, what are you doing? There's no crawling around. There's no crawling in that hallway. You're supposed to squeeze your way through. We actually had Thor and Captain Marvel crawling on the floor. They'd rather crawl on the floor and get their costumes dirty than squeeze their way through the inflatable. And I berated them, like, you guys are supposed to be superheroes. You could handle stuff like this. And sometimes you think of things to say after the fact. I should have told Thor. I said, no wonder they gave your hammer to Natalie Portman. There's one lady dressed as Hermione. She squeezed her way through, but no, Dumbledore crawled on the floor. She squeezed her way through, and I'm like, Hermione! And like, are you by yourself? And she's like, no, somebody else is coming. And lo and behold, here's Dumbledore crawling on the floor. I'm like, I expected better from you, sir. You disappoint me. I got Hermione to drill my forehead, and I was very thankful. And I said, I knew there was a reason I liked you. Some people, they saw me. I would part the plastic curtain strips or whatever they were, and I'd open it up, and I'd be there, and some of them, they'd turn around and run. They'd run right back up the limb hallway. There's one group of girls, they went in, they turned around and ran back up the limb hallway, and I was right behind them. they're back in the reception, in the doctor's office. And I'm like, get back here. Get back here. And the receptionist had to kind of coax them back down the hallway. And then I had to open the sliding door into the infected area where these kids were. They were behind the wire fence. They were being quarantined because they were infected, and they'd be there screaming, let us out, let us out. And one of them had one of those things that makes sparks when you drag it across the wiring. And she really got into it. Her name was Marissa, and she really got into it. She's dragging that along the wires, and it's sparking, and she's just laughing like mad. And the other girl's screaming, let us out, let us out. And sometimes I'd be there doing my spiel in the morgue area, which really wasn't that big. It was just like this one little area with the drawer doors. You couldn't actually open them. They were just there, and people were always trying to open them and stuff. And they'd be on the other side, and they'd be one of the girls would start yelling, let us out. And I'd turn around and I'd yell, quiet. I'd get somebody to drill my forehead, and one of them would yell, don't listen to him. And I'm like, I have to listen to them. That's why I have the migraine. And they'd laugh. The one girl, Marissa, she was there when I was walking through. They were basically like, they were just trying to get a feel for the place, just like me. And after I was done, we met outside, and we kind of talked about what we were gonna do. And Russ, who he organizes the Nightmare Alley, he told me to give them a signal when I opened up the door to let them know to get ready to go into their routine. And he suggested I say something like, I love the infected. And I told the girls that, and Marissa, she came up with, because she was actually hungry at the time, and she hadn't had anything to eat. And she says, actually we could just use the code word baloney. That's all she could think of was baloney. And because she hadn't eaten yet. So that's what I did. And I'm sure a lot of the visitors thought it was kind of odd, after one of them would drill my forehead, and I say, well, and to show my appreciation for you helping me with my migraine, I'd like to offer you some. And I'd bang on the door, and I'd slide it open. I'd say, baloney, and they'd go through, and I'd tell them to stay along the wall, because that way the infected can't reach you, and they'd be there going into their routine. And the guy would be on the other door on the other end. He'd open up and he'd yell, get away from them, they're infected. And they're all screaming and laughing and carrying on. You get interesting people. You could see some of the costumes some of them wore costumes, some of them didn't. Thor and Captain Marvel. Some of the people that crawled underneath the inflatable, I'd point my drill at them and say, no crawling. Or some of them would come in, and they'd still have their drinks. They were allowed to bring their drinks in, and they'd come in, and I'd be like, don't spill your drink. We had Thor and Captain Marvel, Hermione and Dumbledore. One woman was actually dressed like Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction. She had the white blouse and the black short hair, and she had the needle sticking out of her chest, and she was holding a cigarette. I'm like, and she had her beer cup there, and I'm like, don't spill your drink and don't burn me, because she had this. It was a fake cigarette, but it looked pretty real to me. She's like, it's okay, it's fake. And I'm like, oh, all right then. She drilled me, and I was very thankful. I was like, oh, that's good. And I said, disco, because that's what she said in the movie. You're not allowed to acknowledge, friends or family members, but if they're dressed like certain characters, you can like play off of that if you recognize them. Some of them you can't tell what they're dressed like. Everybody was talking about how it was supposed to be bad that weekend. It was supposed to be all cold and rainy, and we were just wondering, I was wondering, what's it going to be like Saturday? Are we going to get rained out or something? But no, it was actually nice. I was actually sweating in the morgue. My drill hole started coming loose. I had to try and get it back on, and it kept wanting to stick to my gloves. Marissa helped me a couple times. She would put it back on and kind of help keep it in shape, and eventually it just fell off completely, and somebody stepped on it. So I just picked it up, and I put it off to the side there and show it to people. I'm like, you see this? This is what's left of my drill hole. I'm actually sweating back here, but I'd still have them drill the spot where it was, and it was a fun night. I didn't go see Sven because I didn't have anything for him to sign. I haven't officially inaugurated whatever journal or notebook I'm using. Moleskine journal, Moleskine notebook. It's not really official until he signs it. I wasn't finished with my current journal or my current notebook, so we'll sign the next one. I had to make my excuses to the Svengoolie group on his blog, because we always have a chat session in the comments while we're watching the movie. The movie, he was showing The Mummy's Hand that night. I went on and made my excuses, and I posted a couple pictures of me. I was waiting for my turn in the makeup chair, and I posted a picture of me, in full makeup with my bloody lab coat and my drill hole and my drill, and they always seem to think it's awesome that I go to this and I get to be in the same part of town as Sven, even though I don't always go see him. They're a good group. They really are. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Oh, after we were done, the Blue Box Cafe was still open. We closed up at 10, and they were still open for another hour afterwards. And I went in there, and they were actually showing Scream on the TV screens. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know Nev Campbell made an appearance in Doctor Who. And they laughed, and they said, no, we're just showing scary movies. And I was really thirsty, so I got 3 bottles of water. And I'm standing there chugging them while I'm watching Nev Campbell and Rose McGowan, seeing Nev punch out Courtney Cox. And I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I haven't seen any of the Scream movies in a while. I should reacquaint myself with them. And right here it is. This is what's left of my drill hole after it fell off and got stepped on, and I actually saved it. Yes, it's still a little bit moldable there, but yes, I actually saved it. I'm gonna tape it. I think I'll tape it in my new journal. I want to try to find, because I know that some jewelry stores, for like certain smaller pieces of jewelry, they have like these tiny little Ziploc bags. I mean to go, I think I'll go in there and ask them where they get those at. Maybe they'll even just give me one. I never see them in the stores. I've only seen them in the jewelry stores. I wonder where they get them at. But there it is, my little memento from Nightmare on Chicago Street 2019. Apparently I'm not done with Dr. Danger just yet. Russ has recruited me for a special event on the 15th at Hoffman Estates. It's they're a gaming company. You know, they supply those, well, they call themselves video games. They're those slot machines. You say video games to me, and I think Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Wreck-It Ralph, and all those guys. But no, these are the slot machines. But they're a company that supplies them, and they've been one of our sponsors. So they're going to have a little thing in Hoffman Estates, and we've been the zombies are going to invade, and me and some of my fellow medical people are going to try to contain them. So that'll be on the 15th of November. I just want to thank, I know I keep saying this, but I can't say it enough. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Judy for recruiting me. I want to thank Russ for having faith in me. And again, I want to thank Marissa for working with me and helping me with my drill hole. What little you could, you did awesome. You raked that wire fence really well. You did good. And I'd also like to thank, I mentioned earlier, there was footage from the drone video. There was footage of this lady that was dancing with one of the performers, a guitar player. Well, I actually ran into her after my evening was done in the morgue, and I got my picture taken with her. I asked her how her evening went, and she said it went pretty well. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, but thank you for taking your picture with me. And I just want to thank everybody that stopped by, everybody that came in to see me. Thank you for all the folks that helped me with my migraine, and I will definitely be back next year. If you're in Elgin during the zombie attack and you're in the safe zone, come see me. And also thanks to the folks at the Blue Box Cafe. You guys are always awesome. You really are. You kept me fed and hydrated and energized with your coffee drinks. Good time all around by everybody involved. I thank you all for allowing me to be a part of it, and I'll see you all again next year. Dr. Danger out.